Good morning.
Good morning.
So, guys, we have with us Angela Crane Jones, who is the Executive Director of the Nashville Business Incubation Center. And we're going to talk with you this morning, just kind of understanding more about you and your passions and your role here at the Business Incubation Center. So, I'll just start how did you get into your role here? Do you have a passion for the entrepreneurial world here in Nashville, I guess?
Absolutely. I came to the incubation center in 2003 after I sold my stores. Prior to coming here, I owned two Dairy Queens, so I definitely have a passion for entrepreneurship as well as working with women and minorities
Ah,
in the community. How I got in this role was I started out as assistant to the director, and I worked my way up into the executive director role when the previous director started her own business because she had gotten the bug from working at the incubation center.
very cool. So it sounds like there's entrepreneurship all around us here. What are some of the services that are available to entrepreneurs here at the Nashville Business Incubation Center?
So we offer, one-on-one consulting as well as group training. We have workshops that are on the second Thursday of each month. We provide lunch and we do networking starting at 12:30. Then we bring in a speaker at 1 o'clock. It's just a 1 hour training session because we want to give them like a high level because a lot of times people don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then quarterly or maybe sometimes we'll do it once a month, but we'll do training that's a little bit more in depth. Where a couple of weeks ago we offered training on contracts because a lot of times we see.
I don't know if I should sign this or should I get something written up to sign beforehand, like a non disclosure, things like that. That's definitely something that I think about.
Yes, and you almost always need a contract. It's rarely that you don't, say need a contract, especially if, we'll say, if revenue is involved. We definitely, manage
Makes sense.
expectations. And then also having someone review the contract because if the contract, there again, if you and I were going in business and I had my lawyer draw up the contract,
It's going to be in your best interest.
absolutely. Instead of protecting you. So your job is to go and have someone else review the contract. So we kind of had a workshop on that, and it was all day. But we did the first half. We had a lawyer come in. But in the second half of the workshop, we did, for example, we had an insurance agent because it's also about mitigating the risk because
This is true.
you can have a contract and hadn't done anything wrong, but at the end of the day, someone still can sue you. So how do you mitigate your risk? How do you protect your assets?
And that's a lot of information that I just got from right there, knowing that I need to come and understand that. So I guess how does a business know that they qualify for the incubation center services? Is it a revenue level or is there a size?
There's no revenue level. There's no size either. So what we tend to do is bring the client in and look at them from a holistic standpoint. So we'll say an individual that has no employees, just themselves, working in a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so someone such as yourself, we're really looking for someone that's coachable because we'll do a complete assessment on you. But the main thing is being coachable because you can have individuals that are very articulate. You have someone that have a beautiful business plan, but at the end of the day, if they're not going to be disciplined to implement what they put in the plan, then they're going to struggle. So we're looking for someone that there again is coachable. Think about when you're on the basketball team. No one went out and just play basketball by themselves. When you have organized sports, it's always a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just there to ensure that they come to practice every day. Making sure they're conditioning so they're ready for the game.
So a lot of good takeaways that I got from there, right? So the size of your business doesn't matter, but the opportunity and the willingness within the person is what you guys are really looking for. One, and then two, what I understand too is that you guys can help discipline the undisciplined entrepreneur because once you become an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily have someone saying you have this due and you have this due. You do that within yourself. But if you need that extra coaching and that extra discipline and that accountability, then that's what the Business Incubation Center can do for you, right?
You hit the nail on the head, and you said the one word that I didn't say. We're your accountability partner.
And that's
That-
so important.
That is what we're doing. There are a lot of resources in Nashville, and we partner with those resources. But when you come to the incubation, you're looking for someone that's going to help hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, we all have dreams. We're all, we're all busy, and we're being pulled into different directions. But having someone that's going to, hold you accountable, help hold that carrot out in front of you. It's just like when you started your blog. It's you say, you know what, I want to have 10,000 followers, or I want to have 20. So what do we need to do to get to the 10,000, followers? And then we're meeting on a regular basis. So when you first come in, we will meet with you at least twice a month to just hold you accountable. And as your company grow and you become more, saying disciplined, we don't have to meet with you every 2 weeks. We can meet with you once a month or quarterly. You think about the athlete. I saw Kobe Bryant on the TV show a couple of weeks ago, and even though he's retired, he's still conditioned, and you can tell.
He is serious. He is a disciplined man because he's good at what he does. And I think that with the business, if you really want that, you got to have that to get that structure in place.
Yes, I mean, I sometimes I use the example of building a house. You have to have a foundation. You've been to 10 different homes in Nashville, but every house has a foundation. A lot of times people don't even pay attention to the foundation. But the foundation, if it gets a crack in it, you start seeing cracks in the wall.
Yeah. And so, like, we're looking at Payless, right? They're getting ready to file for bankruptcy. So, that's what the long-term effects of not having a strong foundation could be, yes?
Yes, and then also, that's a good example because in my take on Payless, because I saw that this week too, and I was like, you know what, I haven't been to Payless or even seen anything about Payless in a long time.
Right.
I think, and it's just my personal opinion, but they didn't pivot with the market. And so, now you can go buy shoes online, you can go to Target, and you can get reasonable price, shoes where they're bringing in, matter of fact, I'll probably be there on Sunday, but they're bringing in
to get the last minute sales.
no, I mean, like they're bringing in different designers, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's hard to compete because you think about Lerner used to, 10, 15 years ago, they just designed the clothes. And so now it's like, well, I think this year is Gabrielle Union, but before with Lerner was even, Mendez. Let's just pivoting.
So I guess, how does the National Business Incubation Center keep up with those market trends and provide the latest and greatest information to so that pivot, I guess, is that within in your training and in your expectations as well?
Well, it's with training and expectation, but also, we have a marketing person that's behind the camera that, also helps, with the market research, and then just paying attention to, to the market, because even the incubation center, we pivoted. Well, in 2009, well, let's just go back. The center was built in 1986. It was built for manufacturing. Majority, in 86, most things being manufactured were now. A lot of things being manufactured out of the country. So in 2009, we realized that there are more companies like yourself that just need a small office, 130 square feet, something to get you outside of your home, and then also you still need the one-on-one services. And so we developed what we call the Acorn Suites. They're like range from 130 square feet to 400 square feet, and then you can start there and then grow your company. So that was a pivot for us. And then 4 years ago, we started Incubate Without Walls, because there again, you may be disciplined and you can work from your home, because a lot of creatives can work from their home. They're disciplined, they love what they do, but they still need the foundational pieces in place, because you still need to have contracts. You still need to have an accounting system. I mean, the business side, and we can offer that. So we pivoted with the market, because you see a lot more co-working spaces where people want to be collaborative, which we don't have collaborative space, but we have the Incubator Without Walls, so you can still be a part of our program. It doesn't matter if you're at a co-working space, you can still be a part of our program as well.
Very cool. So what are those phases or stages of a business or the program that you have? So how do you know you have graduated from month to month to quarterly? What does that look like for the business as well as the program?
So here at the National Business Incubation Center, when you come in, we do an assessment, and then we agree upon what the end goal is.
Very good.
And so we as a staff help the client decide on what their milestones are. Now we have a baseline of milestones, because think about when you go to college. You want to, major in marketing, or you say you want to go to law school. There are certain classes that you need to take. So we already have, from an academic standpoint, we have a set of milestones that every business needs to have. I mean, everyone needs to do a brand audit. Everyone needs to have an accounting system in place. There again, you need to have some type of contract. So the first year we call it the Acorn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we work on the 4 pillars, which is accounting, marketing, operations, and legal.
Mm-hmm.
When you have all those in place, which we would consider your foundation, then you would graduate to the next level.
Okay, very cool. Okay. So, what else? What are your other experiences before you came to the Entrepreneur Center? Tell me more about your your past, and what is some advice that you would give budding, wanting to be entrepreneurs out there?
Well, one piece of advice that I try to give most everybody is one is have a village, because it's I mean
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult being a small business owner, especially if you are such as yourself, and I'm assuming that you're working, if you're working by yourself in a silo, but you have other freelancers that's working with you. So I would consider them a part of, being a part of your team without them actually having to be employees of your organization. Then secondly, self-care. I'm real big on, self-care. And then I think the third one is make sure you have a solid foundation, in place. So, develop outside of the team that's going to help you day to day do your blogging, but do you have someone that's doing your QuickBooks? Do you have anybody that you can rely on? If, say, right now, Essence calls you up and say, "Hey, I want you to blog for our company." Do you have a lawyer that you can go to and review the contract that you're going to be sent next week?
And then I'm
I'm
going to
a
go
speaker.
back and take these notes and make sure I get myself in order, because there's a lot of good information here about just the first things you need to know, the things you initially need to have have that solid foundation. So that's really good information.
And I think the other thing for me that helped me in when I had the Dairy Queens was I didn't look at other individuals, other Dairy Queens as competitors. Like I was in between two other, Dairy Queens. We worked together, because I learned, from them. And when I couldn't get something done, or if I ran out of ice cream mix and it's a hot day, I could run to their store. So it's the same thing when you think about a freelancer. So if you got a large job, how do you get it done? By partnering with someone else that's in the same industry as you.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we think of them as a competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
We like, no, right, instead of partner.
I think that's really big, and something that I see too is looking for the opportunities to partner with folks instead of looking at them as the competition, because I truly do believe there's enough room for everybody, because everybody has their own lane and everybody has their area of expertise. So I think that's a really good point, though. Thanks for calling that out. So I know we can't talk about your entrepreneurial side without talking about your charitable and your nonprofit sides. I've heard lots of good things about your work. So can you just kind of tell us about your charitable work?
Well, thank you so much for asking about that. Matter of fact, this Saturday we have Make a Wish, which is Walk for Wishes. I sit on the board as well as chair the Walk for Wishes. So we have approximately 1,000 people we expected, to come out to that walk. But how I got involved with children, really having a passion for children's charity is that my son was born premature. My son was born 4 months
Oh wow!
premature, and I started immediately volunteering with March of Dimes.
Creating that village.
Creating that, village, and going to the hospital, letting other mothers know in the hospital that March of Dimes was there for them, that they can rely and trust upon the staff in the hospital, because a lot of times, they think they're alone. Mm-hmm. And so we would go back and, take gift baskets at Christmas time. We take all the kids that's in the NICU gifts. And the main reason why we did that, because it really saddened me, because I was there with my son. We had Christmas in NICU, mm-hmm. which for me was a blessing, because of course I would rather have him at home, but I could go to NICU and we had gifts that our friends had given us. There were other kids or parents there that didn't have anything, or they may financially could afford it, but just with everything going on, they didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot go back and get those holidays.
Mm-mm. That's a good point.
And so, and I've always given, like we've always did adopt a family personally. And so when I came to the Incubation Center, those are one of the things that I asked the previous director, could we start like adopt a family here? Because a lot of times, what I saw as a small business, they say, oh, when I get $10 million, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give back in the community. I'm gonna go and volunteer. When you can do that now,
Right
mm-hmm. now. And so, for me, became if we took 20 people and each gave $50, we could go and, you know what I'm saying, have a great Christmas for someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so each year in November, what we do here is clients, well, they start out just giving $50, quite honestly, but now I have clients that give several $100s, and I have people that have graduated that send checks in or call and say, did we do adopt a family? Because now, you know, they have learned to, you know what I'm saying, to give back. And that's one of the things we try to teach the clients here is to give back, get involved in the community, and then, you know, build relationships within the community. Because I think as small businesses, a lot of times we don't think about building relationships, the importance of relationships, and not me meeting you today and like, what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of what can I do for you?
The exchange. And so I think that's a really good point. It's also, I heard you say you teach businesses to give back. So that may not be something that we innately just do, but over time, that's part of that discipline, that's part of that culture that you guys instill. In your own words, why is that important for you?
I, as simple as somebody helped me get where I'm at today. You know, we all forget that, you know. I'm here because someone, you know, donated their time. I'm here because someone, you know, that I received a scholarship, you know what I'm saying, to go to school. So like in our families, we help each other, but we don't think about also, in, you know, in the community, you know, reaching out and helping those individuals. And so for me, it's just succinctly that I got here because someone else helped me.
That's it.
And I know, you know, and I feel like I'm blessed. Even when we didn't have much, I still knew I was blessed.
Very nice. So tell me about the upcoming events that we have here at the Business Incubation Center. What can we start to plan out or look forward to in this quarter and the next quarter?
So we have a mentor protege. Well, we have a contract with the Nashville Airport, and so we have a mentor protege merchant contractor informational session that will be April 18th from 5 to 6. It's a great program. It's a 2-year program where the first year we do 12-month training once a month, and then after that you can come into the incubation center and you'll have an office here, and then you receive the one-on-one assistance. But what I love about the program that the airport completely underwrites everything. They're just looking for people that are committed, coachable, and they want to scale their company. And then the other thing is we have the CEO roundtables on the second Thursday of the month. So this month we'll be doing cybersecurity because a lot of us take that for event. We take that for granted. But you know, cybersecurity, that it couldn't happen to us. And so last year we had the FBI come in and talk to us about what happens. And essentially, in a nutshell, he said by the time it gets to him, your money's gone and you won't get it back. And so this year we said, well, you know what? We need to bring someone in and talk about how to be preventive. You know, what safeguards you can, you know, put in place. And then also from your company perspective, what type of insurance may be out there for cybersecurity. Because a lot of times you don't think about it. It's just like when you have employees, people don't think about having insurance for theft.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do these services, do they cost anything? I know I'm an entrepreneur and my overhead is I'm trying to keep it low. So does this cost for us to be part of this program?
No, my goal ever since I've been here, been at ED, is to have all our training for free. So the CEO Roundtable is free every month. We just ask people to register in advance so we'll know how much lunch to, you know what I'm saying, to order for each individual. And the mentor protege program, like I said, the information is free, and even that training is free. You just have to apply, you know what I'm saying, for those classes. And then we do Global Entrepreneurship Week because we want individuals to know that although they may be in Nashville, that they can do business anywhere in the world from their home. And so we do that the third week in November.
Yeah, and this might be a silly question, but can you tell me what's the difference from the Nashville Incubation Center to the other co-working spaces that are available in Nashville? So I've heard of the Skillery and I've heard of the Refinery, if they still have those places. And so how does the Nashville Business Incubation Center differ from those other places?
First of all, there's no silly question.
Okay.
So thank you for
no problem.
Thank you for asking that question. Succinctly, like we stated earlier, the difference is accountability. You go to a lot of other places like the we'll just say other co-working. Then you can decide if you're going to go there. You know what I'm saying? Today, you can decide if you're going to
not go.
And you also can decide if you're going to do marketing or you're going to do accounting. We're here. It's at the Incubation Center as your accountability partner. You have to close your books every month by the 15th. You know, then they'll review with you If you decide, for instance, we work with MEPR, and so if they have put a plan together and it's a 90-day plan, then we're working with you to ensure that you are executing. For instance, we had a client that worked with MEPR, and they did a review and they looked at the the website and the marketing materials, and within 6 months that was all taken care of. But previously, it was more or less, I really don't need a website, or my website is saying it's fine, but when the audit was done, they realized their website needed to be redone, the collaterals need to be done, and then we could help hold her accountable to it.
So it sounds like not just having the space, but actually having the management, actually having the expectation and the accountability is what the National Business Incubation Center provides, more so than just possibly coffee and co-working spaces.
Oh, exactly. The space for us is the least, like we do evaluation, so when we evaluate the company as a whole, we evaluate even them paying their fees, it's just 10% of the overall. We're looking for, did they hit their operational goals? So if someone who's reviewing it, I tell people, think about going to college.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't go to class every day, you're gonna get a failing grade, then you're gonna get a piece of paper that says you're on probation, and then the next semester, if you don't do what you agreed to, which was the milestones, then this program is not
for you.
It's not for you. It's not saying you're a bad person. So then landing at a co-working space is ideal. So it's just like someone that they drop out of college doesn't mean they're not going to be successful. It's just going to college where there's a structured curriculum in place and we have expectations. And the difference is I look at our program as a small college where everybody knows their name. We treat people like family. And so sometimes they can't hit the milestones because life has happened. But we're there to walk them through. Where someone else is, did you pay your fees this month?
I'm really excited about that because I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't necessarily get or can't stay in business long enough because they don't have that foundation and that structure. So I would encourage everyone to if you're really serious about scaling your business, if you're really serious about going from just making money to running a business, then you would investigate and research what we just discussed here at the Nashville Business Incubation Center. I think that having the space as well as the leadership. So can you tell me more about your team? Who all is part of the support and the mentorship and kind of what their backgrounds are?
So I have Aaron Turan, which is a program director. And so he oversees all the programs and work with the clients. And then we have Misha Waller, which is our administrative, coordinator. Between the three of us, we work with the clients each month and ensure that they receive the services. Aaron has been an entrepreneur himself, and he's also have worked with the underserved community. And here, that's where our passion is with the underserved community. We want to remove the barriers because a lot of times there are capital needs. And here we offer, a loan program that's based on character because sometimes individuals do have credit issues, but also trying to help them see that they need social capital. Because a lot of times that's what a relationship building comes in. Come in because they don't have the social capital. Working with them, on that and how to build relationships. And so Aaron has worked in that community, and so he does an excellent job with communicating with the clients and keeping them encouraged. But the main thing is that accountability piece, following up with them. Because a lot of times they know everything, just like you know everything about blogging. We probably know anything about blogging.
But
we know. Do you have a calendar in place so you know where you're going to blog? Do you have the financials? Because there again, you said I think you have an editor. So either the editor is volunteering or we're having to pay him. And if we're having to pay him, do we budget for him quarterly? And do we have the funding for the year? And if we don't, how do we mitigate and where we're going to get the funding from? Do you, as a blogger, do you get sponsors? Talking through what does that look like, and then holding you, accountable to that. And then, who's your next hire as you grow and you get to 10,000 followers? Who's your next hire, and what does the job description look like?
It sounds like I've got some work to do because those are good questions that I don't have the answer to. And if you don't know the answers to that for your business, then you should definitely come down here and sign up. Come listen, come set up a meeting and see if this is going to be right for you. Is there anything else that you want to share before we kind of finish this part of the interview?
I just encourage each and every person to if you're going to go into business, go into business for what you're passionate about and not the money. The money will come because a lot of times we see, oh, so and so's making a lot of money, but if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to wake up, every day at 3 o'clock